Lisa Topol, welcome to the Breaking and Entering Advertising Podcast. How are you doing today?
I am doing very well today. It is warm and lovely. Although I like
Yes,
the cold, but it's nice to see the sun.
it is nice to see the sun. And we're going to talk about you today. We're going to
Okay.
talk about Oberland, the ad industry, your superpowers, your advice for the next generation. How does that sound?
It sounds excellent.
Lisa, I've been doing this for many years now, it seems like, a lot of episodes. And I used to have a really rigid structure. But I like this new approach that I have. And maybe you will too. Maybe you won't. But I want to open it up to you. What are you most passionate about? I guess looking at your career,
Yeah.
what are you best at talking about, would you say?
You know, I I actually like talking about, I was in the holding company world for a very, very long time. I was at Wyden also for a while, but outside of that, really living in Holden Companyville. And it was kind of a pretty big decision, leaving DDB and being a co-CCO there with my partner Derek, who I'm working with again at Oberland. And coming to Oberland was a really big deal for me. And it's something I look at and I don't regret. And maybe I think the reasons why are something that I like talking about because there's really a few reasons. It's one is the independence of the agency, and the other is sort of its focus. And I have just generally been a happier person, um,
That's great.
overall and in advertising. Just yeah,
Okay. May I poke some holes or
you
attempt
may.
to? Because
Yeah.
you started your career as a copywriter at Ogilvy,
Yep,
but you did a stint at Wyden, and then
I
you
did.
went back to Holdco land.
I did.
Is there like I don't know what the psychological term is, but like most of your career, you're building up through the holding companies. So
Yeah.
do you carry some of like the stress of climbing the corporate ladder in the holding companies? Are you associating that are you
Yeah.
generalizing to all the holding companies?
No, I mean, I suppose it's not fair to generalize to places where I haven't been, but I have been at Omnicom, I've been at WPP,
Hmm.
I've been
Yeah.
at some of the big ones, and it's not like I look back and go, "You're at horrible holding companies," because I built my career there, and,
And you
you
were
know,
good at it too. I
and
mean, you
y
were CCO at DDB.
yeah, and I met m all of really my best friends in that time and,
Mm-hmm.
really learned how to be good at this and had amazing mentors, so I
Mm-hmm.
don't look at it and go, "What a terrible thing. No one should ever go to a holding company." But I will say, and probably over time, for me at least, it did weigh on me and started to kind of feel the corporate press of it. And even running an agency, you never quite felt like you ran the agency. You
Yeah.
know, it always felt like there was something, a machine over you that was making decisions. And I did feel this will be sound much bigger than maybe it is, that it really weighed on my soul and it started to feel a little bit dark to me. Um,
Yeah. Somebody just texted me the same thing. Like it's literally affecting my soul. And I was like, that's wild. I mean, you must be feeling some type of way in that scenario. What did
yeah.
that mean for you? Because you did mention there's always another layer.
Yep. Yep.
And even if you're a CCO, you might have to go to like a global creative council.
You sure do.
Hmm.
You have
And
to
see
go to
other, and
many
then
global
you
creative
realize
councils.
there's a CCO in LATAM or
Yep.
in APAC or in Europe, and then
Yep.
there's a global CCO, and then there's a merge of some sort, and then there's an executive global
All of it.
CCO. So what's your
Yeah. And
perspective on that?
well, part of it is certainly for me, I feel very responsible, or I did, to the agency that I was at, the home base at in New York, right? And I wanted to care for that agency and those people in particular. To me, it's very every
Yeah.
agency. I don't care what agency you're at. It is ultimately about the people that you're working with. It
Hmm.
really comes down to that. And in that sense, that's why I say I loved that experience because I've worked with amazing people. But I didn't always feel that I could act in their best interest.
No,
I think it,
there's so many other decision makers,
yeah,
and
yeah.
absolutely. So now you
And
have that creative freedom. Is this what you're saying? Your soul
yeah,
is a little bit more cleansed, if you will.
yeah, and I feel more responsible for the decisions that I make, like, the good ones and the bad ones. I feel like I have more of a stake in the decisions, and that feels better, and I just feel like there's more of a humanity to the size of it, and I did feel that at Wyden as well, so some of that is sort of independent versus holding company, um, but I just at the end of the day, I feel like there's all the same typical stresses. I mean, work is work, and trying to figure out how to solve a client's problem and a business problem is the same. But at the end of the day, I feel like I have more freedom to do it the way that I would want to do it, and that I would
Yes.
hope to do it with the people that I want to do it with. And so that lets me sleep a little better at night. I need like one less Xanax than I
Yeah.
used to need. Yeah.
A little bit less.
So
And I think it's an important, a point though. It's like, it's not less work.
no.
It might be more work because you love it more and you
Yeah.
feel that responsibility, but it's your choices that you're doing. How does this translate to the mid-level,
Yeah.
creative who's not who doesn't have the responsibility
Yeah.
as a CCO, somebody and that high up, but like working in the holding company structure? What are some of those things that would weigh down on them? How
Yeah.
does this influence
Yeah.
their experience in advertising?
I just think, and again, I've been out for a little while now, but I would say it's so much easier to get lost, to get overlooked, to be put in a silo somewhere, and no one kind of knows what you're doing, what you're working on, and you don't feel sort of part of the product. It feels more corporate in general, and so
Mhm.
I say that though, you could be in a holding company, and if you have an ECD, say, that's a really good ECD and does mentor you and grows with you, it could actually be a great experience.
Totally.
So again, I'm not trying to make sort of big, vast
No, yeah, and
generalizations, but
that's probably a rough question on my end, so I
yeah,
take responsibility. Yeah, it's like you can find a really good group or within a large holding company, and that's why I always tell people, follow the work and who made the work.
100%.
So, like, Lisa, if I found that you were at DDB, like the work that I really loved, and I looked for DDB, I wanted to work there because of a work that you
Yep,
made, and I got a job at DDB, and I'm looking and I'm like, "Wait, what's going on? Oh, Lisa is at Oberland."
yep,
I
yep.
should have done my research and figured out where Lisa was
Well,
exactly.
and that happens. I mean, it's one of the, like, maybe the things that I'm most proud of and most enjoy is that there's sort of a group of us that have really followed each other, to places from Chiat to Gray to
Mm,
DDB, and
mm,
sort of keeping a lot of sort of core group people. I met my partner Derek Barnes at Wyden,
mhm.
and then we ended up running what was called a super group at Gray for several years together. Then we ran DDB together, and now for the last, I guess, 7 months or so, he's been at Oberland,
Look,
and
yes,
you
you
know,
stick together.
yeah.
Who were some of your mentors in holding company world?
Well, I mean, funny enough, one of them, because it kind of is what part of what brought me to Oberlin, of my first two bosses at Ogilvy were Chris Wall and a guy named Bill Oberlander. And so there you go. When you talk about sort of trajectory going from one place to another, those are two huge influences on me, actually. And I that's the thing. Like, I look back at Ogilvy and I think, oh my God, I couldn't have had a more perfect job. And it was kind of in the heyday of advertising. I worked on IBM, and as a young copywriter, it was the best training ground in the world because I didn't know shit about, like, software, and I knew how to use a computer, but I didn't know anything about it. And suddenly you had to figure out, how do I learn a topic in a way that I can then communicate it to someone and make it interesting and make it cool? And maybe one of, like, the like the most exciting moments of my early career, at least, was I know I had to write a long copy ad about Linux, the
Mm,
operating system. And I was like, I don't know what that is. I just know it's open source. Oh God, what do I do?
mhm,
And I was like, I'm gonna figure it out. And I wrote, this is in the land of long copy, it's like a spread page of copy.
mhm.
And I got a handwritten letter back from Linus Torvald telling me it was his favorite ad ever. And
Incredible.
and it was because I decided, I'm like, I need to know just enough to communicate this in a human way.
Yes.
How do I do that? And so it was just an amazing learning ground, and Chris Wall really instilled that in us, and so did Bill. Bill and I worked on Motorola together, and I really got to sort of build my presenting chops,
Mhm.
with him. I was a piddly little junior, and he gave me the opportunity to present in front of the big wig clients, actually in a wig in one of the cases,
Oh,
and
really? What was the
it
brand?
was a hot pink wig, and it was for Hello Moto, for
Oh.
Motorola, and that it built obviously trust in those relationships, and I maintained them throughout. And so, even as I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my own career, Bill and I had always been in touch. And I had gone to him early on saying, I don't know, man, maybe I want to own my own place and I want to do things I care about. And he's like, don't do it, man. It's really, it's really hard. And I was like,
When
I
did you
don't know. I'm
say
going to
that?
think about it. And I ended up working for him. Yeah.
Oh, when did when did you have that moment? Was it after DDB where you're
That
like,
was
"Maybe I'll"
that was actually while I was still at Gray, and it was when Tor had left.
Yeah.
And, there's just a lot of changes going on at Gray, and it was sort of like, "Okay, do I wanna stay here? Do I wanna go somewhere else?" And just thinking about the things that I enjoyed the most or the things that mattered to me the most, and I think that sense of the weight of the holding companies, that's probably around when I was like, "Ah, I really feel this,"
Yeah.
started to happen. And so I had entertained. I was like, in my private personal life, I'm a very active person in sort of politics and in what's going on in the world. It matters a lot to me. And I just thought, God, is there some way to combine that, to combine the things that really matter to me that I care about and advertising? I mean, wouldn't it be nice if I could take my writing superpowers and use them for actual good? And
Mhm.
I had been doing a lot of that free of charge in my spare time. And when I was trying to figure out what to do, Bill's like, "Listen, come, just go freelance, and I'm working. Help us on the ACLU and fighting for abortion rights." I'm like, okay, that sounds
Golden.
like I'd do it for free. I'm not going to tell you that, but
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I'll do that. And my decision was made pretty quickly that
Got it.
that's where I wanted to go.
So give me the rundown then of Oberland today.
Yeah.
We know it's independent.
Yep.
We know you were the CCO there.
Yep.
We know Bill is still involved.
Sure is.
What else do we need to know from an employee perspective?
Yeah. Yeah.
The clients aren't listening right now.
Well, I mean, a few things. The thing that I love about it, it's a smaller group. It's also a very, very, very tight group.
Mm,
And I love that because a few things. I mean, first, partly because there you don't have the luxury to do it, and partly because I don't mind. There's no, like, finger pointing, "You go work on this, and I'll check in on you one day, and we'll see how it goes." I do, in fact, do a lot of the writing, I do a lot of the work, and we have a lot of very young creatives, and I hope, and I'm pretty sure it is, a really good sort of process for them because we work really closely together. And again, it's sort of how I was treated when I was young and had good mentors. It's a big deal to me. And so I love to see younger people who haven't even had that much experience in the industry go from nothing to winning a Cannes Lion in the span of a year. That's pretty cool.
that's life
Um,
changing. It's life
and
changing. Yeah.
so I think that, and again, to me, that's part of what's neat about some of the smaller shops is you get that kind of one-on-one with people. Um, Almost by default, you get it where you might not get it at a holding company. And so I feel like that's the vibe there. And truly, I feel like everyone that's there chose it because in some way or another, they do care about the world. Like there is sort of a unified feeling in
So
in
what
that way. Yeah.
run me through some of the greatest hits of
Yeah.
Oberland's
Yeah.
creative work.
Well,
What do we need to talk about?
yeah, I mean, since I've been there, the big thing for me, and I think the reason that Bill brought me on is because, it's really tricky when you think of a purpose-led agency. I don't think that people thought, oh, and it's creative. You sort of think, oh, it's all not for profits, and that's all that they do, or there's nothing that's high profile or nothing cool or things you'd want in your book. And I have found it to be the very opposite, actually. And the way, when I was talking to Bill about it, I just said, I think the magic is combining creativity with a conscience. And if you can do that, you could be the coolest place ever to work at. And I just say this because I when I thought about that and I thought, okay, what kind of clients do you want? And are you going to be a hypocrite if they're all not for profits? What does it mean? And for me, I honestly feel like if you compare everyone probably in advertising, certainly creatives to sort of the world, you're probably better than average communicators. Just generally, right? You're in that kind of profession. And that means a few things. It means you're able to express something a little better than the average person. And it probably also means you have a platform. In one way or another, you are putting something out in the world that other people are seeing. And so
Mhm.
for me, I'm kind of like every single second of that is an opportunity to have a teeny weeny moment of defiance and to have a teeny weeny moment to do something that actually can make a difference or change something. So that could be as super simple as and I can first of all maybe I'll name you a brand because I was thinking actually about it before I talked to you and I was like some of that's who you cast, where you run something,
Mhm.
who's your director, the little things like that that make huge statements. And I was thinking about the Gap actually, and I was like, my God, the ads that they're doing right now, and who they're using. They're using Young Miko and they're using Cat's Eye, right? To
Mhm.
do these incredible music videos. Puerto Rican rappers. That's a huge statement.
Mhm.
And is Gap a purpose-driven brand? I don't think they would say that they are, but to me, that is a huge step in saying, you know what? Diversity, equity, inclusion. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, it matters. And yeah, it makes America great. And by the way, Puerto Ricans are American citizens. So it's kind of like that kind of statement's a big deal. And then one of our clients, Elf, did something similar at the Super Bowl. They ran an ad with Melissa McCarthy called Melissa, and it was a telenovela ad. And again, talk about an act of defiance. They ran it right before the Bad Bunny halftime show. And clearly there was all that sort of talk about you can't have Spanish singers at the Super Bowl. And so they went ahead and did a whole spot about how Melissa McCarthy needed to learn Spanish so she could watch the most amazing halftime show. And that
Mhm.
embrace the Latino audience that they had. And again, it sends a message without sort of it being sort of crazy political, but you are saying something about society. And
Yeah.
so when I talk, I guess, about the greatest hits, I'd start with Elf. And certainly for me, the campaign that we did last year. And by the way, we're working on part deux right now, which is
There we go.
very exciting.
Do you want to sponsor a pickleball tour next month, a Taylor Swift concert? How about a New York food festival? Today, any of those will take you 6 emails, 3 calls, 2 months of your time gone. And when your CEO asks if it worked, you got nothing. Envara fixes all of that. Envara is the first marketplace for live event sponsorships. The whole process takes 90 seconds. Transparent pricing, audience metrics, exclusivity, and real performance numbers the second it's over. Envara has thousands of deals across every category, and the platform is 100% free for brands. Envara.com. Go buy your next sponsorship faster than this ad just ran.
But we did a campaign called So Many Dicks.
Mhm.
And
Incredible.
and I will say, first of all, just like thank you, Elf, because I don't know many um, clients that you could walk into a room and say, "Hey, listen, I got this idea, and it's about dicks, and you should do it." And they go, "Yeah, we should." And it was almost as simple as that with them because again, they wanted to talk about something really kind of serious, which is the lack of diversity in women in corporate boardrooms, and it's crazy how few women there are. And the problem is, you could talk about it till you're blue in the face. Nobody listens. You walk by and you go, "Yeah, that's a problem," and that's the end of the conversation. And when it started, we had a lot of data points, and it was actually going to just be like an infographic video. And that's when it sort of hit. I was like, well, why? This is actually such big news. And if we could actually change it, which Elf wants to do and are still actively doing, which is one of the things I love, by the way, is like they didn't just do it and say, okay, bye. They are genuinely still like building programs to get women onto boards. But I was like, what if we could take the data and make that so interesting you couldn't turn away from it? And the truth is, we didn't really even know. Honestly, it was kind of a hunch. There was a dick on Elf's board of directors at the time, which is really where the idea came from. And I was like, I bet you if you did the research, I bet you there's a gazillion Richards, probably more than women. We didn't actually know yet.
Right.
And Corey Martisato, who just got actually promoted, I believe, yesterday to be the president of Elf. Congratulations. Said, "Go find out. Let's find out." And again, what a client to offer you that opportunity to find out before, they're putting money into something that may not pan out. And boy, it panned out. It turns out there were way more men named Richard, Rich, or Dick than there were women on corporate boards. Um, and they really let us go with that. And suddenly, before you knew it, it wasn't just CEOs and corporate bigwigs talking about diversity in boardrooms in the middle of a time during the Trump administration when it was like, fuck you, DEI, fuck all of this. And Elf is out there doing the exact opposite. Um, we had young 17-year-olds and 18-year-old teenagers saying, I want to know about this. I don't like what I'm seeing and I want to be on a board. And suddenly young women are talking about boardroom diversity. And so when you look at the kinds of people that it hit, it really went from sort of pop culture to corporate culture and really made a dent across the entire spectrum. And so for me, when I look back at lots of things that I've done lots of funny things, I've done lots of Super Bowl ads. Um, it's one of my proudest
As
because
it should be. It's
it,
incredible.
it's super cool. It it took it's all based on just one stat, one point of data, and it's turned into something really, really interesting. And the side note of that is do your research and do your homework because so often the the gold, the gold star and the gold ring from the carousel is in those little details. And here we are now. We're working on part two with them right now, which I think is going to be pretty cool. Um, and
I want
yeah,
to pause because I think like there's a really good lesson there in like the singularity of what advertising professionals I feel like do really well is when a problem is presented, they do a bunch of research or they have an inkling and a
yep,
hunch. And how do you get all the knowledge that you have and get it down to a single message point that is creatively told? And you did that so well
yeah,
with the Elf campaign. I think for young advertisers, people building their portfolio,
yep,
I mean, we all struggle with this. We want to hound in like 3 to 4 messages in
yep,
one
yep,
single print ad or in one execution,
yep.
and it's just gotta be one benefit, one thing that you need to drive home. I feel that way. Do you feel
I
that in general? Like
Oh
that's
God,
the
yeah. And it's something that it's something that often you kind of have to workshop with clients too, right? Because you'll often get, can we talk about this and this RTB and that RTB, and also this RTB, and you sort of want to draw them the chart. It's like, yeah, that's like throwing a million darts against the wall, and no
Yeah.
one knows where to put their eyes.
Lisa, I mean,
You know?
it's weird because now, we're trying to work with sponsors and like,
Yep.
you have a 10-second ad read.
Yep.
What are you gonna say?
Yeah.
And then sometimes we get like 4 messages in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Oh yeah.
let's just keep one thing. Like, I bet you it'll do better. Like, they'll
And
remember one thing better in that 10-second ad read.
that's to me is the funny thing of it all. I think there's this sense like the more I get in, the more people will know and the more they'll be interested. And it's just not how anybody's brain works. Like, just let me process something. Let me know what the interesting thing to process is. And I'll like you probably even more than the laundry
Mhm.
list that you gave me.
Totally. Oh,
And
you'll
I
actually retain something.
yeah,
Absolutely,
and I
yeah.
think it's a rigor on both sides of the equation. I think that again, Elf saying, "Focus on that, do that,"
It's
and
it's incredible.
they
But
do that a lot. I mean, they're really great that way. And
yeah, the CMO, the
yeah,
Corey
yeah,
hosts she's a co-host of another,
yep,
great podcast,
yep,
with Uncensored CMO. I think it's called Renegade.
yeah, yep. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's really good, and I
Yeah,
shouldn't be promoting another podcast, but, like, she is amazing. I saw
she's
her speak.
fantastic. She's
Sh I saw
fantastic.
Yeah, I saw her speak when they were launching that podcast with John Evans, and I was so impressed by her. She asked this question, maybe I'll steal it. She asked John, and John asked her, "If you were a spice, what would you be?"
God, I'd be a Penzies spice for sure. I know that's where I'd come from. I don't know if you know
I
Penzies.
have no clue what you're
Okay,
talking about.
Penzies is what
Penske is a tire, I'm pretty
Penzies
sure.
is this little. It's an it's an independent spice shop
Oh,
in I believe it's actually in Chicago, and the owner of Penzies is just an absolutely unapologetic liberal. He sells spices. It's like this is the fuck Trump spice, and and he gives special deals on that. And then he fundraises. He puts signs in the windows, basically telling people like that we welcome immigrants. We love immigrants. 10% off spices for
He
immigrants.
I
Like
mean,
it's
this owner knows like how to advertise
he
and really convey
totally
a
does.
message and
I've always
marketing.
said, "Oh my God, I want to have Penzies as a client." And then I'm like, I don't know what we could do for him, to
Yeah,
be honest. He understands his base. They have a huge following.
I bet.
And the spices are great. They have like
And the
all
spices.
American spices. And I do like paprika a lot. So I'd probably be paprika from Penzies is probably what I'd be.
Incredible. Incredible.
But
Paprika it is.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So now we have a good understanding of you, what you're passionate about, which is independent agencies and helping the next generation. And we talked about some of the work from Oberland.
Yeah.
I want to know, I used to say specialize and get really good at art direction or copywriting. I think that's probably still okay, but
Yeah.
more and more I see like the ability for people to close the gap with the tools and technology
Yeah.
today. It's nice. Like we are a startup, so we need people
Yeah.
that are multi hyphenate, if you will.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to question, you know, that line of advice of you have to be really good at art direction or copywriting. It's kind of blurring more and
I
more.
think it is blurry more. I mean, I think it's certainly good to be able to have one of the core skills and
Right.
be good at it. But I'm jealous, to be completely frank. I mean, you talk about sort of. I I feel like no matter I don't care what level they are, I want to learn from them, and then I get better, and
Of
then they
course.
get better. And I love that. I love that the younger generation, quite frankly, more than us, has those capabilities. Like partly because it's easier to access, and partly because I think it's required.
Yeah.
Um, I love seeing it, and I do think it's important to have a mix of them. I don't think you have to
Hmm.
be as good as an art director as you are of a copywriter, but
No.
I think having a little bit of the multi-hyphenate
I think
helps
like
you get ahead.
yeah, I think it's like it's like majors and minors. Like you major in art direction, you might have a minor in copywriting.
Yeah, yeah.
That could be a way to think about it.
Yeah, and especially with editing and, I think to me that's the greatest tool that you have now. You
Mhm.
can film something and you really can edit it in a pretty cool way,
Yes. It's a
to get
cheat code. It's a cheat
yeah,
code for the next generation.
and that's I have my very strong issues with AI in a lot of places, but I do think it can come in handy there to kind of help shortcut to
Oh,
some
yeah.
things. Yeah, you just might not be able to access otherwise, or if you're not a great art director, you can probably use AI to help you with
Yeah.
that and sort of complement the things you are good at. We
I love it. Well, Lisa, thank you so much for coming on,
Sure.
sharing your thoughts, your advice for the next generation. It means the world to me, and I know it does for our listeners too. I wish you all the best
Thank
and
you.
best
You
of luck with Elf Part 2, if you
Thank you.
will.
Thanks.
Keep me posted. Pitch me that.
I will
Let me
do.
see it under embargo, and we'll talk about it. Maybe if there's an activation, we'll go there if it's in New York City.
I will do. All right.
Cool. Thanks, Lisa.
Hey, thanks.